So a bit of a follow-up on my now, I think, almost viral video. The stuff that kids, the Gen Z, and many alike don't really understand these days, and it's not that anyone is pissed off or anyone is angry. It's more like we can't be angry at the predominantly ridiculous nonsense that is being spouted around for the reasons such as, like ourselves when we were young, full of ourselves, focused way too much on just the here and the now and our own ego, we also had to learn, most of us the hard way, sooner or later, that not everything is always the way you want it to be, and not everything is definitely the way it seems to be. You know, like generation after generation, people have realized deeper and deeper how duped they were by the education system, by the science, by the politics, by the banking system, by basically, the richest people on the planet. And these same people, I'll take one example, is George Soros, for example. Like, this guy has turned his side around at least 2 to 3 times in his life. In the Second World War, to his own admission, he was providing funds to none other than the Nazis, and now he is the biggest funder and supporter of BLM and so-called Antifa, which is just in itself a ridiculous joke. At the end of the day, I know people can change, and I know people can also see that whatever they were doing in the past was wrong. They can learn, they can heal. But when the dynamic of them is still the same type of, aggressive, divisive, hateful, did it really change? No. All they did was just change the mask they carry around in the world. And what I'm trying to say is, the kids these days, what you all need to understand is really simple. When you look at the generation that was raising the Gen X, so this was basically people from after the Second World War and people who survived the Second World War. That was just massive trauma in itself. So they had no clue other than survival mode and raising their kids as best as they could with a very limited knowledge and a lot of trauma on their backs. And that went on generation after generation. It was literally down to the generation like Gen X and the early millennials, or what people are telling me in the comments that I'm a xennial, or it doesn't matter the label. It really matters how you feel inside yourself. But the point is that I grew up in a very poor family. Literally grew up from the streets. So when Gen X are telling you, look, we actually had to open the houses for ourselves, we had to do things for ourselves, we literally had, most of us had to take care of ourselves. And there was no user manual what to do, where to go, what do you want in life, how to figure that out, how to figure out your passion. I think that large majority of Gen X people, even like 40, 50 or more, still don't know what the hell they really want. Because it's from the point when we started growing up and then how quickly the world started to change. Even the fastest, the smartest, and the most adaptable to the change one of us still can't keep up these days. It's really that complicated. And it's not because we're getting old, it's just honestly inhumane. Way too much of everything. Distractions and polarizations all over the world on any possible subject. But we're failing to see that at the same time our freedoms are taken away, our value of work, family, community, all of these things that that makes us human is being taken away. And we're being enforced to think, feel, and do exactly as, I don't know, some World Economic Forum or some other politician bought by the same group of people is telling us. And this is where you kids don't understand. We had to live through this bullshit with everyone ignoring us. The boomers and the zoomers. None of you cared. The millennials even less. The younger millennials, they were all about parties and getting shit-faced. And they still are. They don't know how to parent the shit. Not for now. Because there's a lot of confusion about how to be a parent. Do you want to be a permissive parent, a compassionate parent, tough love parent, or whatnot parent? None of us are actually able to figure it out the proper way, other than through the experience, through the trial and error. Now, the problem here is, kids, we don't have 5 to 10 years of time to wait for you to realize that you have to think for yourself, that you have to stop reading the headlines, reacting always in the here and the now and through your own bloody ego, but you actually have to figure out there's a lot more. There was a long history, and there's also a very long future ahead of us. And that's also being present in the here and the now, being conscious of how your own thoughts, your own emotions, and your own actions will ultimately shape all of the future and what you see for the past, what you learn from it. This is the part that we're all missing from you, Gen Z, and the zombies. Stop staring at the screens. Look around, look up, start talking to people. The older they are from you, the more you should be talking to them, so you can actually learn from the experience of others instead of having to learn on your own painful mistakes like we had to do. And the bigger problem you guys have today is really not understanding that when you're angry with someone, whether it's boomers, whether it's Gen X, whether it's someone else, you're actually just beating yourself up for the mistakes that others were doing. It was a very painful lesson for many of us to learn it that way. Why would you want to go and be as stupid to constantly follow stuff you're being told to do instead of figuring out what you actually want to do? Because that's already going to be really hard. And listen up. We're here to actually trying to give you a little bit of tips and guidance and tell you in life, it's gonna get hard. We all worked hard for nothing. So now if we realize we worked hard for nothing and for people who don't have our own best interest, things have to change. And if we want things to change, who has to change? Me and you. That's it. This debate should have been ended before it even started. But it cannot end unless everyone starts to listen to everyone. And not just to react and to respond and to sound like a smartass, but to actually take something from it. And I hope that finally, not just the Gen Z and the kids and all of these deluded people around the world, especially when it comes to relationships and dynamics and how to do business, that you stop faking yourselves, stop wearing the masks, and finally open to yourself to be who you are and who you're meant to be. It's not a cliche. That's actual true freedom, and it's the hardest to achieve. Now stop whistling, stop complaining, stop whining, and just do the best that you can out of yourself with what you already have. Peace.